going. Show all the love, make all the noise for Mr. Hugh Dancer. Gentlemen, please. Oh, my goodness. Guys, how is Dallas treating you this weekend? Have you guys had a great time?
Yeah, Dallas is warm.
Yes. Yes. I do believe Dallas is some sort of native for very hot. Very, very hot. But we are so glad that you guys are here. I'm here to celebrate a fantastic show that has literally captured hearts and minds years later, even after its production. How does that make you guys feel to know that you're part of this amazing legacy that brings all of these people out here to celebrate with you?
Old?
Well, not old, seasoned.
No.
Yes.
Grateful, honestly, and a little, and happily bewildered. No, it's an incredible thing that I feel that often, particularly at events like this, I'm conscious that there are many people here, and I say this I think it's just a statement of fact, that know this show better than I do. And that's incredible. It really is. And how that comes about and what drives that, I don't even pretend to be the expert on. I just stand and admire.
I think it's love and appreciation, like without question. You guys did such a great job with essentially a franchise feature that I think we all fell in love with everything that you did. Mass, you are tackling a character that's been a part of pop culture for a few decades now. How does it feel to step into a role as iconic as Hannibal Lecter?
I was kind of shitting my pants.
That's fair. That's fair.
That's fair enough.
Right?
No, those were gigantic shoes to wear. I mean,
of course.
He obviously at least won. You can argue two other people did it to perfection,
right,
for me, right? But we also knew that we were not going down the same path. We had a TV show where we spent 3 seasons with this guy so we can build up slowly in a different way. We have to remember that first Anthony had 14 minutes of screen time in the film.
Yes.
And he has that and an insane impact on us.
True.
So we were going a different route for a lot of reasons. One was not to try to copy him because that would be creative suicide.
Of course. No, and I think that's part of the wisdom of the production as a whole was to say, okay, we love this character, but there's so much more of the story than what we actually have seen before. Especially with the introduction of Will and going back and kind of seeing how did they build that sort of relationship that we kind of caught in the books. Speaking of, were you guys fans of the book series from Tom Harris before you got this role?
No, not before I got the role. Okay. Familiar with the movies, and then as soon as after I met Brian, essentially the first thing I did was go to the Thomas Harris books, well, specifically to Red Dragon, because it's a kind of dream. You have this full blueprint of what's going on inside the guy's mind. Obviously the difference between the books, the pre-existing movies, the pre-existing versions of Hannibal is that we were both out in the world, right? That classic thing of behind bars and the jumpsuit when we got there. But that was the fun thing to explore, was just two people drifting through the world and etc.
And finding their way in these very dangerous situations, which I think is absolutely brilliant. When it comes to the idea of Will projecting a killer's mentality, right? Is that something that you feel as an actor you can kind of tap into fairly well on a regular basis, or was there some work?
I'd like to think I did okay.
Oh, you did phenomenally. But the question is, like, how hard was that? Like, was this like, oh, I actually might be a serial killer? I don't know. Like, how was that for you?
No, I didn't. I mean, if I'd having that thought, I probably had already had it.
Fair.
It wasn't that complicated. I thought Brian created, not Brian, Thomas Harris, but Brian interpolated this character, somebody who I found strangely easy to imagine, somebody who is so porous and so vulnerable to receiving information from other people, and it so happens that people that truly reach through to him are people with violent intentions. I found that entirely conceivable.
I love it. Now, Max, you are fantastic. I don't want to say playing villains, but antagonists. So I don't think that everyone is necessarily villains that you brought to the table on screen and TV and things like that. So tapping into Hannibal Lecter, Do you think that that is something that was more of a challenge as a titular character versus anyone else that you played that was a little bit more antagonistic?
To a degree, I think that the fact that we had 3 seasons comes to my benefit, in the sense that you can plan it out differently. It's obviously Brian's idea that we want to somehow understand Hannibal, or maybe not understand, like.
Gotcha.
Like, actually, we don't get to understand him that much, but we do get to like him because he is, with Will, the main character. And we find ourselves like cheering for him, even when he's doing horrible things to Will.
Right.
And that is an achievement for Brian, that he can turn that universe upside down completely. Because it's not about good and bad anymore. It's about cat and mouse, and we're not sure who's who.
I love it. Especially considering that in the context of the show, if you know where the story is eventually supposed to go, there's something fun about watching it happen. But if you don't know, having it all unfold in front of you is great narrative. That's absolutely fantastic. Okay, I gotta get personal here, all right? As I understand it, there was a chef consultant, Jose Andres, that was responsible for making sure that the culinary standards for cannibalism were correct.
Brian is very detail-oriented.
So, did Jose bring things to the set for you guys to eat?
No, Jose wasn't on set. Now,
Okay.
Jose's an extremely busy man.
Fair.
But a little while before we started shooting, Brian texted me with no explanation a video that it turned out that Jose had sent him, which was him, Jose, walking into the meat locker of his restaurant, and all you could see with his hand reaching out, like picking up a heart, and kind of going, yeah. It's like, oh, okay. Well, you know, I just signed on the dotted line for the contract. Like, well, you know, I guess we're doing this. But actually, the day-to-day preparation and cooking and even conceiving, I think, some of the recipes well, Maz was much more part of that. Was not his direct.
Gotcha. Out of curiosity, what was the most unfamiliar thing that you ate in association with the show?
People?
I'm so glad that's the answer. I'm so glad.
Could be one of the answers. We had a fish one day that was inside some kind of jelly thing, and in a big bowl or something. I really enjoyed everything we ate, except that.
Gotcha.
And me and Lawrence had a way of fucking up a scene deliberately if the food was good. But we wanted another portion of the foie gras, right? That one, we nailed that scene the first time.
There was one time I remember when we were on set and Janice was making all the food. There were frog's legs, but I don't think they were in the scene. It was just like she'd cooked some extra frog's legs.
Yeah, but she does that every day.
It's not common on a TV set that somebody just offers you some frog's legs, just to be clear.
Something to try, right? I think that's kind of fair. Considering some of your other castmates, I mean, there are some other very dynamic actors involved in this show. Who are some of your favorites to work against?
I work against and bring down.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone who was part of it for the whole 3 seasons, we just became very close friends. Obviously, I acted closer with some than others, and ditto with you. But then we always had super interesting visitors coming in, right?
Yes.
Eddie Izzard would be one very interesting character, and as a person as well.
Yeah,
of course.
Jillian, obviously.
Got the legendary Lance Henriksen.
Yes.
So that was just like an endless flood of talents coming in, and we would just stand back and watch them work.
I love that. There's nothing better than phenomenal actors like yourselves still being inspired by other people that you work with, and I think that's one of those things that plays out in the show where we can see how much you're enjoying what you're doing as you're doing it. I think that's absolutely fascinating. Okay, so my last question before we go to this long line of folks here. When it comes to the potential of bringing Hannibal back, what would you love to explore if you got that opportunity?
We've been around.
I mean,
I would like him to go to Denmark for a week.
Okay.
Somewhere else in cold Toronto.
Yeah, something tropical maybe.
Silence of the Lambs is around the corner, right?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to dive in there.
got you.
But also, is it the final book with Clarice? I'm forgetting which book it is now. Is it Hannibal?
Yeah, that's
where he has Clarice kind of under his care,
right,
and is rebuilding her. I mean, I think there's a version of that story which is a kind of full circle back to our first season as well.
I would love that. Absolutely love that. Guys, we're going to start off the questions over here. I see there's someone still sitting down. There we go. Remember the rules. Don't make me throw my shoe.
I'm a teacher, I don't break them.
There we go. That's what I'm talking about. Hello.
That's suspicious already.
As a retired teacher, I am always curious to know if there was a teacher or a mentor or a family member that really encouraged you to be who you are today.
That's a great question.
It's such a difficult question to answer because a lot of people would have done exactly that to you without you really knowing it, right? But of course, I had a grammar school teacher that I thought was approaching everything the right way. It was super inspiring. I had a teacher in my primary school as well that was very influential of taking us from the street corners into a gymnastic place and start working out instead. So there's a ton of those kind of people, but probably the ones that we didn't see coming are the ones that influenced us the most.
Very well said.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I mean, I have for sure two teachers, one kind of drama teacher, another teacher who just, in exactly the way that Matt's just described it, I kind of realized after the fact, oh, he shaped the way I think somehow. I don't know how he did that, it was like a magic trick. So yes, for sure.
Thank y'all.
And let's make some noise for the teachers out there. Yes, indeed. Hello.
Hello, my name is Reggie. I saw y'all the other day. I watched the first episode last night with the start.
Okay.
So what is personally your most influential scene for both of you?
Ooh. When you say influential, like impacting them or what they got to put the most influence on?
What they got to put the most influence on?
Okay, all right.
No, I don't care about spoilers. Go ahead.
I think it's the same.
Yeah, I do.
You want to go?
Are we talking about the end of season 2?
Yeah.
The final episode of the second season, and we don't have to tell you anything that happens, although literally everybody else did.
I'll take it.
It's not good. No, you should kind of build up to it. It was really grueling to film. It was exactly at the peak that the rest of the season had achieved. It was technically demanding, it was emotionally demanding, it was kind of amazingly ballsy what Brian had written, the twists and turns of it, and it took all night to film just that one scene, which usually is a euphemism, but in this case it's literally accurate. And I also think it's one of the best scenes in the show.
Yeah. I agree. I can add that I would like to spoil your it's a sequence where Hannibal is cleaning up. He has to burn the whole thing down to rebuild it, and it was grueling because all the characters were getting so close to each other, and then this one guy decides to ruin it all.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello. Sorry. So I have. If you can't answer this question, I have a different one. But during the filming of Hannibal, was there a scene or a piece of dialogue that if you could go back and act differently or change the dialogue altogether, what would it be?
Wow.
And why?
Yeah, that's easy for me. There were some issues with me and my funny accent, especially in the beginning.
What?
Crazy, huh? Who would have thought? Yeah. And I had a line where I talked about a fragile little teacup. And so I would say the line, we'll do the scene, and the director will get somebody whispering in his ear, and it will be passed down, and somebody would run up to me and say, "No, man, it's fragile little teacup. And then I say, yeah, fragile little teacup. No, it's fragile little teacup. And I'll go back and forth. I couldn't hear the difference. What the fuck? I would go back and change that one line so we could move on that day.
The year after we filmed the last season, I don't remember this, Mads had a kind of significant birthday, and I sent him a recording of my 3-year-old son just saying, fragile little teacup.
That's going to be the name of your memoir when you're done. I love it. It's a great question. Thank you. Hello.
Hi, just wanted to first say that meeting you guys yesterday was how I'm celebrating my heart transplant anniversary going on 4 years. And just a question for both Hugh, if you've seen Fantastic Beasts, relationship goals, Grindelwald or Hannibal, and then Mads, Will Graham or Albus Dumbledore.
Wow.
Or relationships.
What was the question?
Okay.
Just one or the other to be kind of like in a relationship with. If you watch Fantastic Beasts, Grindelwald or Hannibal.
So basically Mads.
Yeah. Different interpretations of it.
I think it's a trick question.
And then for Mads, it's Will Graham or Albus Dumbledore. Because you.
Will Graham or Hannibal
What do you get between me and Jude? Different deal. Relationships. I mean, I think Hannibal probably more interesting, but you're more likely to end up, being dinner.
No, I got to know Will Graham really well. I kind of miss him.
Thank you.
That's an answer.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Silas. I have a question for you. Did playing an autistic character in Adam influence how you played Will Graham at all?
That's a good question. It did influence it because I felt that, well, there was some suggestion early on from a few people that maybe Will Graham was autistic, which I don't believe. I believe that he's at the other end of the spectrum, that he receives too much information, that he's too open, as I was just saying. But having played somebody meaning Adam, who was autistic, who had the kind of difficulty connecting with people and difficulty maintaining eye contact and so on, that many people on the spectrum do, it was helpful to understand the reasons that Will Graham chooses to adopt those things to protect himself, which is different. But I think the other thing was, when we act, a lot of the time you have a scene, you film a wide shot, then you film closer shots, then you film close-ups, right? Over the shoulder to Mads and over his shoulder to me. And the end result of that is that a lot of the time actors speak like looking at each other far more than we ever do in real life. It's kind of easy. So it was very helpful to have played somebody and have that taken off the menu. I think it was helpful for me as an actor generally, and it was helpful when it came to playing Will Graham.
Thank you.
Hello.
Hi, Mads, I loved you in Royal Affair, and Hugh, I loved you in Princess Diaries. That was like my childhood. My question is for both of y'all. What is your favorite Paycheck movie? Like, what movie did you just go in for a Paycheck and then really ended up enjoying the production, or like really enjoy the final product?
These are astounding actors that would never. What's your answer?
Well, I started out, I did a TV show in the early stages of my career, a Danish one, a cop show. And I was part of this gang of it's hard to understand today, but the young ones, right? The one who were breaking the rules, doing crazy street films. And I've done that for a few years, and I was part of that, but I never made any money really. And then I got this offer. It was a steady job, at least a couple of years. I had 2 small kids. And I did say yes because of the money and because of my wife looking at me saying, you need to make some money now, right? And I struggled with that for a while, and then I started really liking it and seeing the hope in how we could work in that world as well. So it started out like, I have to do it, and then it ended up to be I love being here. Yeah.
It's a good one.
So there's a movie which kind of similarly called Blood and Chocolate, which I was, which is very great. But at the time, it's like I can't remember what I'd just done, and it was like, so now wait, I'm going to go and make a movie about werewolves or with wolves, and I mean it was that classic thing where you go, and then the price goes up, and you go, who am I? And then you realise who you are. And then I had the same experience when I kind of loved all the people I worked with, and I had a great time. So it was, I got my cake and ate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi. Okay, my question is for the both of you. What episode did you have the most fun filming?
Most fun episode.
That's a good question. I would say, God, I was just thinking back on it. There was a lot of fun. I mean, I have like 2 jokes in the entire series, maybe 3. So those stand out. I liked filming the first episode, actually, of the whole thing. Maybe just because we were getting to figure it out. The scene in the bathroom with Lawrence when he kind of blows up, because that was obviously, he had so much fun. He was so thrilled to just scream at me. And I got one of my 3 jokes. So there was a time where he says, like, what are you doing in here? And I said, I like the smell of urinal cake. And I have no idea why Brian wrote that. I think he was writing to begin with like a snarky Will Graham who just kind of drifted away and never returned. So yeah.
It's a good one. Max, what about you?
Yeah, I mean, I would be lying if I didn't enjoy tremendously making Will Graham throw up an ear and later that day end up in jail.
Thank you.
Thank you. I want to warn the room, we've got like 15 minutes left. We'll see if we can get through as many folks as we can.
Hi Matt, hi Hugh. I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to come to Dallas to meet your fans. Really appreciate it. My question is for Hughes. So when I picked up the series for Hannibal, I immediately had a soft spot for Will. Sorry. Yes. So we've seen the first season that he has a soft spot for picking up strays, and so have a bit of a fun question. How was it working with all those dogs on set, and did you have a favorite?
I mean, the favorite has to be, I forget his name, but you'll know, I mean, this is the most amazing underbite of any animal that I've ever seen, and he was a rescue. He was just a sweet, funny, ridiculous little animal. The thing about the dogs, that the scene when I'm like washing the dogs, that's all fine. The scenes when the dogs are jumping in and out of the car, whatever. The scenes that were a nightmare were when they were meant to be asleep. Because you got, I don't know, I can't remember now. Somebody might well know the answer. There's 5 dogs, 7 dogs. 7, thank you. And so you can get 6 dogs, maybe, to be still, but there's one of those dogs, is like having a dream about a rabbit or whatever. And so we spent like inordinate amounts of time trying to get the dogs to lie down.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, my name is Mustari, and this question is for Matt, and you, mostly for Matt, though. What is your favorite quote from him?
Favorite quote?
My favorite quote.
Yes.
Is your social worker inside that horse? That's honestly Will saying that. And I don't know what happened because normally, I mean, I rehearse because there's a lot, it's a wordy story. And I have a lot of words, very specific Hungarian thingies and brain surgery and stuff. So I hadn't seen that line in the scene. So when we did it the first time, I went, what are you doing, Hugh? You're going insane. So that was a line. I thought it was a brilliant line.
That was one of my other jokes.
Was that you?
And I was going to pick the same line, in fact.
Okay. Thank you. Hello.
Hi. Thank you guys so much. You are amazing.
honestly, I didn't. And maybe I would have done if it was just Brian's script. Maybe Brian would have had somebody in mind. But we had putting aside other adaptations, and again, we had Red Dragon, right? So I didn't need more than that.
No, and me neither. I think that what was important to Brian and to me with the character of Hannibal was that it was like we tried to make him an upside down character. We didn't want him to be evil.
Right.
We wanted him to see beauty where the rest of us sees horror. So it was a different approach. It was actually, if I had to copy anything, it should be a lot of good guys. You know, somebody who would get inspired by fantastic music, fantastic food, fantastic people. A curious person. That would be what I would have been looking for. But I didn't get like one-to-one inspired.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hi, my name is Andrea, and this is a question for Matt. During the filming of Casino Royale, did you realize how big an impact you were going to make in the James Bond universe? And for Hugh, did you watch Casino Royale when it came out?
Yes.
And my answer is yes. We had no idea. Listen, I had done one international film that was funny enough with Hugh. We did King Arthur, so that was my second one. And obviously, I knew Bond was big. Honestly, I'd never seen a Bond film myself. I lied my ass off at the audition. It's like they kept asking me who was my favorite villain, and all I could say was like the guy with the metal teeth. I didn't know anything, and they called my bluff. I'm sure. I had no idea, and for obviously for both of us when we were shooting film, he also came straight from like indie films. I mean, I felt some pressure, but nothing like Daniel. Daniel must have felt an enormous pressure, right? I realized it when we had the premiere in Leicester Square, 50,000 people, and we were supposed to meet the Queen. Then I realized, okay, yeah, that's a premiere.
Yes.
So yeah, we couldn't think about it while we were doing it, and I'm happy we didn't.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello, I'm Nude. I met y'all earlier, and one of my favorite behind-the-scenes moments was when Jack Crawford jumped out the window. I was wondering if you guys had a favorite scene that had like a stunt or a special effects moment in it.
Favorite special effect or stunt scene that you either did or maybe witnessed in the show?
I would say my big fight with Lawrence in the second season was a couple of very long days. We felt very energized and young while we were doing it, and then we felt extremely old the next couple of weeks. That was fun. It was brutal, and it was really nice to do stunts with a man who knows what he's doing, like Lawrence. He was so much bigger than me, but he was actually also faster. Annoyingly.
That's the Matrix. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
I did far fewer stunts, that kind of thing. There was there's the scene where I'm, as it were, reenacting Eddie Izzard's escape from the back of a prison van. And I think I culminate by ripping somebody's throat out with my teeth, something along those lines. You know? So there's that. But actually, what I remember is. In order, I guess this was the beginning of season 3 when we were returning to the end of season 2, and I've like floated down through the floor into the blood and sinking. And so getting into that, I'd never been in a giant water tank before. All I had to do in it was just sink, and I found that to be surprisingly difficult. Yeah, that was it.
It's a great one. Hello.
Hello, my name is Ellie Kong, and I was wondering when there's a lot of scenes where it's very like cinematic and artistic, but it's like gore and murder, and especially like cooking scenes. So like as a person who knows how
It's a
much
weird pitch for a TV show, isn't it?
how much like effort that's put in those scenes, do you ever like appreciate it and then freak out because you're appreciating it? Also, can you say hi to my friend Claire?
We can't do that. We gotta save those for over there.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Not exactly. I mean, I think there's two things. Sometimes you come back to something that you made a while ago, and this would be maybe particularly true of Hannibal, and then you get a full blast. Oh my God, we were doing that. That's amazing. And secondly, and I remember having this experience on Hannibal in particular, because there were so many wild scenarios, and you know, you're just thinking, okay, what are we going to do today? What are the scenes we've got to shoot? Here's what I've got to do. And then you look around and you realize that there are, you know, 50 adults all working to set up a man, you know, who's like half man, half cello on a stage, or whatever it might be. And you think, how do we get here? How is this our collective job? It's insane and amazing. So yes.
I think that we didn't appreciate it in the beginning, as you said, because we were so busy just figuring out how to do our parts, and a lot of words, as I mentioned. And it's not obvious that you can read from the page what kind of look the whole thing will have. So Jim, DOP's work, and together with set designers and Brian's visual ideas, when he edited the first 2 episodes, I think that's when we realized what we were doing. With all the stuff that we were not part of, but was such a big layer of the entirety of the show. And we definitely appreciated that we were not standing naked in a room.
I remember when we watched the first 2 episodes, it really was like that. Oh, okay, that's what we're doing. And Scott Thompson came up to me afterwards. We went out for a drink, and he said, "You're so emo."
That's brilliant. Thank you. I want to warn the line, where this is probably going to be the last question. However, everyone that's in line right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite you to come towards the stage. We're going to do a photo, and you guys get to be the first line in that photo, okay? Take us down.
Hello, my name is Em. Hannibal being a show that relies so much on a very dark psychology, I imagine that that's something that you end up carrying with you. So I was wondering if there was an aspect of a show that became a part of your personal life, whether it was intentional or unintentional.
Cannibalism.
I was going to say.
No, actually, no. I mean, the thing that I've carried with me the friendships, and this experience, right? But in terms of the psychological realities of the show, no. I think I can answer for both of us that we're pretty adept at saying, okay, good night, everybody, see you in the morning. You know.
I agree. I mean, part of being an actor, one of the most important things is that it's something that you can leave behind. But let's just say as an experiment that we will go down a dark tunnel, or in the case of this, that Dancy would have had the hardest time, obviously, because he's constantly in a very dark place for a lot of reasons. Hannibal is not. He is always in a very bright place. You know, he is. He's twisting the world upside down to fit him. So he is probably the happiest man I've ever played.
But for every scene that I had to shoot where I was having a breakdown, I got to shoot another scene where I was being birthed out of a stag, for example. So it was, you know, give it with one hand, take it away with the other.
I love it. That is absolutely amazing. Phoenix Dallas, make some noise one more time.